how far would you go if you were uncomfortable in the middle seat of a flight? Ooh. A woman on a 3-hour American Airlines flight is going viral after complaining she was wedged between two people. Her tweet
That's how
read,
the middle seat works.
I know that's how it works. I am currently literally wedged between two obese people on my flight. This is absolutely not acceptable or okay. If fat people want to be fat, fine. But it is something else entirely when I'm stuck between you with your arm rolls on my body for 3 hours. I didn't say this again. The woman on the plane did. Obviously, the tweet is...
Welcome back to the Labor Lounge. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we're going to continue growing together. So y'all saw the opening clip. We're talking about overweight flying. This subject has stirred up again. It's been something that's been talked about for many, many years. But I think now that we got this TikToker out here who I'm not familiar with her name, demanding that obese people get special privileges when they get on an airplane. Personally, I think it's kind of ridiculous. You have to have some form of self-accountability, but I also know what it's like to be overweight and getting on a plane. And I got a couple stories I'm going to share with y'all about that whole situation. So let's go ahead and get into this video and we'll continue rocking out.
She said...
Nobody wants to sit in the middle seat. So I understand whatever the size of the people on either side, nobody wants that seat. But also you have the option to choose Comfort Plus or whatever they call it on that airline. You know, you're allowed to pick your seat. And so fat shaming the people on either side of you is just obnoxious. I understand you were uncomfortable, but you had a choice. Okay, you had a choice.
You could have upgraded.
Right, you could have paid a different price.
Fair.
I will
Do you
say
agree with that?
I'm not defending what she said, but somebody's got to talk for both sides. I think the airline should do a better job of explaining the rules about how those seats work. In the middle seat, you get both armrests, Lindsay. I get, if I'm in the aisle, I don't get your armrest. I get the aisle and I get my armrest. Jeff gets the window and his armrest on his right side. And I don't think people understand that.
That's a rule.
So, but anything that you have that is coming into your seat, I think you do have a right to complain about. Even if I'm 110 pounds, but I have a gigantic winter jacket on or something that's coming on your seat, that's your area. So she does have a case there. The problem with it is she's a horrible person.
So with this situation here, right, I understand, you know, the middle seat is dreaded by many people, if not by most or all, right? I don't want the middle seat. Now, every time I've been on a plane, like I mentioned earlier, I've been on the heavier side. So I've always had this stigma where in the back of your head, when you're getting on a plane and you're walking down that thin tube, right? You're looking at people as they're looking at you, and you know they're thinking, don't sit next to me. Personally, if I'm this lady who wrote this tweet, I don't want to be wedged between two heavy people either, right? But on the other side of that too, I also don't want to be the heavy person creating discomfort for somebody else. You know, that those thoughts are going through your head. And again, I'm talking from personal experience. I know I've made efforts to sit uncomfortable in thinking about the person that's sitting next to me. Matter of fact, I believe there was one time I took an American Airlines flight, and with American Airlines, you get to pick your seat. Now, before the American Airlines flight, I think the only plane I've ever been on is when I went to Bahamas, but I'm almost too young to remember that trip, right? The American Airlines flight, I chose a aisle seat going to my destination, which I think we were going to North Carolina. And then coming back, I chose a window seat because everybody says you got to get a window seat, right? After going to North Carolina, I sat in the seat and I was like, man, this plane is really small. Now, mind you, I'm on the heavier side, but I got the aisle seat, so it's a little bit bearable. And I'm in the exit row. Coming back, I was dreading sitting by the window because I realized that I'm not going to have any space to move. I can't stick my legs out to stretch. I'm going to be wedged against the wall. I got this armrest that's stuck between me. It was just horrible. And it was a full flight. So I had somebody sitting next to me who was in that middle chair. And then I had somebody on the outside. So imagine, here you go. You got a couple hours on the flight. You don't even want to get up to go to the bathroom. At this point, I don't even know how big the bathrooms are on these planes because I'm inexperienced at this. So I'm sitting there. I'm uncomfortable. I'm thinking about not making the person next to me uncomfortable. It was just a horrible experience overall. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents about American Airlines. I'll get into Southwest. Let's continue a little bit of this video.
That's not how a human human beings talk.
Right.
But
You should have wrote an email.
Everybody has a right to that section
fair.
For the seat that you bought. They each have advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah, you can't really control that, right? So that's something that's you got to, I guess you got to suck it up on that one.
Yeah.
Because it's different if you bring an animal or something and now the animal's in my space,
Totally,
right?
right.
Or you're doing something on purpose and you're leaning back and your hair is all in my space. That you could control, right? So I don't know what the airlines is supposed to do about something like this.
Well, what I would say about the airlines is that you guys have flown like year after year and noticed that the space in a regular cabin seat gets tighter and tighter, squeezes your legs more, and shorter leg room. And so I don't think that's right. I think they need to reel it in. They went too far with the sizing of the seats. Like a normal adult is not fully comfortable in the
I agree
middle.
with you.
So a normal size, I don't know, we
Any
can talk to
human
Dr.
being.
Coley about the actual shapes and sizes, but that's like not a normal seat,
You know
right?
where
Everyone's
you're
going to be a little
comfortable?
tight.
You're comfortable in your car.
Drive.
If you have a problem with the seat size, anybody,
No, they should
you can
treat the
drive.
customer well and get better, bigger seats.
There are places that, if you cannot pay for whatever reason, and I've been there for a lot of time in my life, then you have options. You have an option to not go, or you have an option to drive. If you choose our company, this is our business model for how we've maximized the small amount of space we have to maximize our profit.
But
Stuff
customers
people
can,
in like sardines.
Right, customers can
Yes,
fight back and say
absolutely.
we're not comfortable with this.
You can fight back.
And she's 100% correct. Customers can fight back and they can make a choice. They don't have to fly. They don't have to go with that particular airline. They could do whatever it is that they want to do. But you can't make a company change their whole model just to suit you as an individual or a group of people. I think that's where this whole thing kind of gets muddy, right? Now, I will say these planes, they are incredibly small. Maybe that's just me because I'm on the bigger side, but these seats are kind of ridiculous. But then I'm talking from a point when I was over 350 pounds. So I actually got a flight coming up that I'm kind of excited about because I want to see how I compare up to the last time I got on the plane versus how I sit on the plane now. I'm still going to try to get the exit row and aisle seat. If I got a choice, I'm going to fly Southwest and I'm going to try to get on the plane first because that's how I used to do that. Now, I told you earlier, I had a story about when I was getting on one of these planes. And again, I had my aisle seat. This was with Southwest. I got my aisle seat. Everything's good. But this time I had to go to the bathroom. Probably the biggest mistake I ever made in my career being on a plane, right? I get up. I'm heading towards the bathroom. Again, you got the peering eyes. You feel everybody looking at you. It's almost like they knew what I was getting ready to walk into. I opened this bathroom door and I could barely fit through the door. These bathrooms were so small. You literally got to turn sideways to get into these bad boys. It was ridiculous, right? So I get in there. I'm trying to position myself to relieve myself in the bathroom, and it was just a horrible experience, right? So I relieve myself as much as I can. I wash my hands up, and then I get out of the bathroom, and I'm walking back to my seat. And again, the peering eyes as I'm walking back to my seat. I sit down, and I'm like, I'm never using the bathroom on the plane again. That was just completely ridiculous. And that flight was a little bit longer. I was going over to Arizona. We were heading towards Las Vegas. So I think from South Florida to there, it's about a 5-hour flight. But yeah, if I got a choice in the matter, I'm not using the bathroom on the plane. I'm going to make sure I'm well relieved before I get up in the airline. Matter of fact, that's going to even stop me from drinking on the airplane because I don't even want to put myself in that position. But the planes are, to me, they could be a little bit bigger, but I get it. They're trying to maximize.
Back by not going.
Or you can
They're
drive
not your friend. They're a private company.
I know, but flying has become something that is necessary for people to get to their family and communicate. Like sometimes driving is not realistic, especially when you talk about age, having children, all these other things. So like I think that they should at least try to accommodate people who are spending hundreds of hard-earned dollars, especially now when money is tight.
And
just
they
make
won't.
the seats breathable.
They
We
won't.
call that your problem.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's not their problem.
Also, by the way, I wrote to South.
As much as we try to make it their problem, that he said it is not their problem.
West when we didn't have AC on a flight and I was schwitzing like a chazer, I'm telling you, and I got $100 back in credit. You don't have to fat shame, just write an email.
I would like to see this person, if there was 2 basketball players or football players that were 250 pounds of muscle in their seat, would they be saying, I don't like what's happening here? Or would they shut their mouth because?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's be a little bit real here real quick. How much time do we have left, Lydia? 30. I just want to ask, should there be an issue for obese patrons? Should there be a separate seat?
How do you go about that without being shameful?
Right. And uncomfortable.
Right.
But
and discriminatory.
Yep. Yeah, we're not going to play too much more of that. Matter of fact, I think I'm done with it. But to the point, I mean, it is what it is, right? I think nowadays they're trying to make people who are on the heavier side pay for multiple seats. Uh, you could you can have your feelings on what it is, but if you need more space, they do got first class, they got business class, they got coach, right? And if you're taking up more space on the plane than the average person, then you're going to end up having to pay for that. I mean, it is what it is. These airlines, they're in it for the profit. We know that, so they're gonna do what they got to do to stay profitable. And if you are impeding on profits, they're gonna make you pay for it. So by no means do I think that you should be provided extras just because you're on the bigger side. I'm not saying that it's your fault that you're on the bigger side. In no way am I fat shaming, because listen, I'm one of you. I was there, right? Matter of fact, I'm still kind of there, but we're not expected to get anything extra just because we're on the bigger side of things. We just have to make sure we're taking steps to change that if that's what we can do. And I understand there's different reasons why people could be overweight, but at the end of the day, business is business nonetheless. So listen, man, this has been an interesting video. I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. I'll be back with another video where we're going to get back into some of the more current event things. And if y'all have any thoughts or comments on this video, y'all go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out.